kickstart free agency, the Houston Texans signed wide receivers Braxton Berrios and Justin Watson. What's up, y'all? It's JC. If you're new, welcome to the channel. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. Road to 10K. So if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that sub button. I appreciate you. One of the biggest needs for the Texans this offseason was wide receiver. As we know, Steph Diggs is an unrestricted free agent, and Tank Dell will most likely miss the upcoming season. And the Texans have addressed that need by trading for Christian Kirk about 2 days ago. And then today they signed Braxton Berrios and Justin Watson. So what does this mean for Houston? Now, I want to start off with Braxton Berrios. I'm assuming that the Texans are bringing him in mainly as a return specialist. A couple of seasons ago, he was named the first team All-Pro kick returner with the Jets. And he also has a connection with Nick Caserio because he was actually drafted by the Patriots in 2018 while Caserio was with the Patriots. Now, this past season, when it came to the return game, the Texans were pretty solid when it came to kick returns, but in punt returns, they ranked bottom 10 and yards per return, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. You know, going into last year, Steven Sims was supposed to be that guy. He was supposed to be the punt returner. You know, he had that big punt return touchdown against the Ravens 2 years ago. But I was at that game when the Houston Texans played the Jags at home. And he had a rough game. Steven Sims had a rough game. I believe it was two muff punts, or either a muff punt and a fumble, some combination. It was pretty much, you know, he was done after that. I believe like 2 months later he got cut. So the Texans were looking for some consistency in the punt return game. So I think this signing of Berrios goes under the radar. When you have a great defense that the Texans have now, you get a lot of stops, you know, a lot of fourth down. So adding Berrios can be a huge plus when you're getting about 10 yards per return, 11 yards per return, 12 yards per return. Let's just take a quick look at his stats. 5'9", 185. You know, he can play receiver, line him up in the slot, but mainly he is a return specialist. 2021, his best season, All-Pro with the Jets, as you see. Then we fast forward to last year, 2024. He had 7 returns for nearly 15 yards per. Now let's move on to Justin Watson. He's coming from Kansas City. Also had a previous stop in Tampa. So he has about, I think, 3 rings. You know, so he has that Super Bowl experience. Now, when you think of Watson, this isn't a big splash move. It's just more of adding depth. He's a solid run blocker, but you're not really looking for him to be, you know, be a huge difference maker when it comes to the pass catch game. More than likely, he'll be competing for that 4th spot on the depth chart. You know, in Kansas City, since Tyreek Hill left, it hasn't really been consistency at the wide receiver position. It's kind of like a carousel. They bring guys in that, you know, a guy might come in for 1 year, then he's gone. The only consistent pass catcher on that team has been Kelsey. So let's take a look at Justin Watson, 6'2", about 215, out of UPenn. You don't see many guys from UPenn in the league. Here we go. Last year, nearly 300 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. His best season came in 2023, 460 yards, had 3 touchdowns. So like I said, more than likely he's going to be competing for that 4th spot on the depth chart. So I don't hate what the Texans have done so far when it comes to the wide receiver position. To be honest, my only concern is health. You trade for Christian Kirk. He didn't finish last year because of a broken collarbone. You signed Braxton Berrios last year towards ACL. He didn't finish the season. So, and then that just, you know, it reminds you of this past season. Nico Diggs went down with an ACL. Tank Dell messed up his knee. And those guys didn't, I believe they only played about 5 or 6 games together. And going into last season, that was a big storyline of, you know, CJ having those 3 together. So hopefully, as a Texans fan, the injury bug does not hit this team so hard this upcoming season. And we look forward to the NFL draft. Something tells me that the Texans are not done when it comes to adding wide receivers. At some point in the draft, this team has to take one, right? So let's look at the guys in this upcoming draft. You got Ted McMillan and Matthew Golden as the top 2 guys. And many are saying that, you know, Ted was the projected #1 guy for a long time. Many are saying that Golden is going to make that jump and he's going to be the first receiver taken. So that'll be interesting. See how things play out. You got Luther Burden, Mecca out of Ohio State. Really good receivers right there. You scroll down, Trey Harris, see more guys. Isaiah Bond out of Texas. Todd Felton, who I think is going to be a really good get for somebody. And a receiver that I am high on in this draft is Savion Williams. I think Savion Williams, is drafted to the right situation, the right offensive coordinator. He's 6'4", runs a 6'4", 6'5", runs a 4.4 40. Line him up in the Wildcat. He played quarterback in high school. He can run in between the tackles. I think he can be a true weapon um, on the next level. So maybe could the Texans take him? I would be stoked if the Texans get him. But who knows? Who knows? But I want to hear from y'all in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on the Houston Texans signing Braxton Berrios and Justin Watson. And do you think they'll take a wide receiver in the upcoming draft?